Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this much anticipated webinar on how to be safe in cyberspace and raise digitally smart kids by Ms. Pooja Malhotra. We'll begin shortly as we wait for some more participants to join. In the meantime, we would like to share a brief video highlighting some of the unique features, achievements, and initiatives of the Khaitan School. Thank you for your patience, and we'll begin in just a few moments. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar, the third of the series. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this important webinar on how to be safe in cyberspace and raise digitally smart kids. As we navigate an increasingly digital world, ensuring online safety for children has never been more crucial. From managing screen time to preventing cyberbullying and protecting their digital footprint, parents and educators need to stay informed and proactive. To guide us today, we have Ms. Pooja Malhotra, a renowned cyber safety counselor and author, who has been actively working to spread awareness about digital safety and responsible internet use. She has conducted numerous workshops, written extensively for national publications, and authored two insightful books, Be Safe in Cyberspace and Bulletproof Your Child Online. With her deep expertise in cybersecurity, online risks, and digital parenting, Ms. Malhotra will share valuable strategies on reducing children's screen time, preventing and addressing cyberbullying, managing online presence and digital footprints, safe and responsible use of social media, tools and resources for digital parenting. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Pooja Malhotra to take us through this insightful session. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaste and a very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Manasvi for such a warm welcome and also thank the Khaitan School for inviting me here this morning to interact with all of you wonderful parents and educators. And I would also like to thank each and every one of you for taking time off your busy schedules and being here this morning and for prioritizing cyber safety. Now, my promise to you is that every minute that you spend in this session today will be totally worth it, because we would be discussing some very important cyber safety rules, some very important and simple yet powerful and effective solutions. Uh, and just give me a minute. I'd like to share my presentation, because you are soon about to discover the secret to 100% cyber safety for your child. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to share some life transforming content which is going to ensure 100% online safety for you as well as for your children. Those of you who are interested in knowing this secret, type in me into the chat window, so that I know that you are keen on ensuring that your children are safe in cyberspace. Um, Thank you for your responses, and I would also request you to kindly put your phones on silent and give me your undivided attention only for the next 20 minutes, because, like I said, I'm going to share some life changing content with you. And before we unravel this secret, let me assure you that I am not here to discourage you or your children from using the power of the internet, because I personally believe that the internet is the best gift that technology could have given us. In fact, it's a truly magical entity. Thanks to technology and the internet, we are all connected on this platform right now. In spite of being miles away from each other, we can interact. So, the whole thing is that from education to entertainment, from online shopping to paying your bills, it's all possible at the click of a button. And I find this truly magical, don't you too? From tracking locations, geo mapping, artificial intelligence, IoT of things, things that were science fiction when you and I were growing up as kids are a reality of today's world. Science fiction reminds me of this program on Doordarshan, which was called Star Trek. How many of you remember Star Trek and Doordarshan? Type in DD into the chat window if you remember Doordarshan. और अगर आप सबको दूरदर्शन याद है, सो आई एम श्योर यू वुड रिमेंबर दैट 3 stick एंटेना, वो 3 डंडे वाला एंटेना जो घूम जाता था एंड द टीवी स्क्रीन वुड गो ब्लर. यस, सो आई एम श्योर मेनी ऑफ यू आर एबल टू रिलेट टू दिस. या, थैंक यू नविता जी, थैंक यू फॉर योर रिस्पॉन्सेस. यस, सो like I was saying, that 3 stick antenna would just turn around, the whole TV screen would go blur. I remember that, I being the younger sibling, you can very well guess who would go up to the terrace. Yeah, thank you, Rajat ji. So I'm sure you can relate to who would go up to the terrace from the ground floor to set the antenna right, and my elder sister would be screaming from the ground floor saying aa gaya, aa gaya. Now I'm halfway down the stairs from the terrace and she shouts out chala gaya, chala gaya, chala gaya. Or is aane jaane mein, I'm sure Richa ji, Rajat ji, you'll all be able to relate to it. Yes, Sarita ji, you'll be relating to this, that is aane jaane mein chitrahar khatam. Yes, so we are the Doordarshan generation. Now compare Doordarshan with today's OTT platforms and Netflix and Prime Video. So I often say that we are the Doordarshan generation and our children here are the Netflix generation. They were born with that remote control in their hands. And whether or not they were born in a silver spoon, I assure you that they were born in a digital spoon. And these children do not go online. They are always connected. They expect devices to turn on automatically. So, who exactly is this session for? This is for parents of children who are hyper connected to their screens, parents who are always fighting with their children or reprimanding them and trying to monitor their screen time. Also, For parents who are wondering how much screen time is too much, exactly where should you be drawing the line? Because we see our children constantly glued to their devices and we are clueless as to what is to be done to ensure that they put away their devices and focus on their studies. So, today's session, like I said, will have some very simple life changing tips. Please listen very carefully, and I request your undivided attention only for the next 20 minutes because we'll also be talking about how I see parents frustrated because they think that they are not as tech savvy as their children. Now, those of you who think that your children know much more about technology than you do, type an I into the chat window. And in my decade plus experience in this domain, I've realized that 90%, in fact 95% parents feel that their children know much more about technology. Yeah, thank you Sarita ji for acknowledging that. We think that our children know much more about the internet than us, so we shy away from having any kind of conversations about cyber safety with our children. It's like, if I don't know swimming, I cannot teach my child. If I do not know how to drive a car, I cannot educate my child about traffic safety rules. Similarly, when we talk about the internet and we talk about cyber safety, many of us are not even aware that there are rules and laws which govern this space. And because we are not aware, we end up not having conversations with our children. We end up not even educating our children about how to navigate the cyberspace safely. And this is leading to a lot of cyber crimes. It's leading to a lot of cyberbullying. So we'll be discussing all this as we progress through the session. And my big promise to you is that you will be able to secure your child against all these cyber threats and ensure 100% cyber safe kids. I, I promise you that at the end of the session, you will have the tools in your pocket which will ensure zero fights for screen time with your children. You'll be able to know exactly what your child is doing online. I'm sure a lot of us would be interested in knowing what keeps our children glued to their devices. You'll be also able to ensure better grades, reduce their screen time by at least 50%, and ensure safe social media usage. Lastly, but most importantly, we'll be talking about how to deal with cyberbullying. It's very unfortunate and rather shocking that India ranks number one in terms of cyberbullying cases reported globally. And 85% of Indian children have been bullied online at some point or the other in their virtual life. In fact, it was a case of cyberbullying that I witnessed in my own life, which inspired me to take a stand for children and enter into this domain of cyber safety awareness in 2012. I'll briefly share my story that in the last 12 plus years, I have counseled and educated more than 17,000 students, more than 22,000 parents and teachers. Like Manasvi mentioned at the beginning of the session, I am the author of two books, Be Safe in Cyberspace, which was published in 2015, and Bulletproof Your Child Online, which is a parent's guide, and this was published in the year 2022. Both these books have received widespread acclaim from the likes of Mrs. Smriti Irani and also the Ministry of Electronics and Telecommunication, that is, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is MITI. I've also been a part of various global cyber safety conferences. I am a cyber safety expert certified by the IFS and also a cybercrime intervention officer with the National Security Database. Besides writing books and articles, I'm also privileged to have received widespread media coverage from the likes of Times of India and other national publications like the Navbharat Times and recently the Morning Standard. Now, coming to the digital parenting challenges, in this decade plus of experience, I've realized that Primarily, we as parents, I too am a mother of two, and I realized that when it comes to digital parenting, we do not have a reference point. So, let me elaborate a little on that. Research shows that 90% of our parenting skills come from our own parents. Uh, and sometimes, like I said, I'm a mother of two. Sometimes when I'm scolding my children, I realize that I'm using the same phrases, the same words that my mother would use when she was scolding my sister and me. I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate to that. Uh, Now, when it comes to digital parenting, unfortunately, parents, the maximum amount of digital parenting that you and I received was ज्यादा टीवी मत देखो आंखें खराब हो जाएंगी. उससे ज्यादा डिजिटल पेरेंटिंग हमारी हुई नहीं है. सो इन दैट रिस्पेक्ट, unfortunately, we do not have a reference point. We sometimes do not realize that we are supposed to parent our children in the digital world. Uh, More than that, unlike all your electronic gadgets which come with an instruction manual, the internet came to us without any rule book. So all your electronic gadgets, even if they are Chinese, will come with some pamphlet, some leaflet, some kind of instruction manual. But did the internet come to us with an instruction manual or a rule book? Unfortunately, no. To top it all, when I am sitting in the comfort of my home with only a device in front of me, I feel I'm physically safe. So I do not perceive any physical threat and I lower my guards. On the contrary, we are much more vulnerable when we are in the online space because there are people out there who are misusing this virtual world to hide behind and play the fool. So it becomes very easy for, let us say, a 40-year-old man to pretend to be a 14-year-old girl or vice versa. What happens here, parents, is that, unlike when I go open a bank account, I need to furnish my identity proof, some Aadhaar card, some passport, some address proof, a proof of date of birth. But when we are opening social media accounts, do we need to furnish any kind of ID proofs? Unfortunately, no. And that is exactly what happens when, I would never allow my child to play even in the park next to my house after dark with strangers. But when they are in their rooms and they are playing online games, even at midnight or way past midnight, I see that they are physically safe. So I don't even feel the need to monitor my child. So I don't realize that they are playing multiplayer games with strangers, interacting with strangers through the chat box within the game, and getting into a lot of trouble. Uh, what we'll do here, parents, is that before coming to this problem number one, that parents are often clueless as to what children do online, I'll just stop playing the PPD and we'll watch a short video and then go on to the solution of how we can find out and track exactly what our children are doing online. Because typically, parents, what happens is in the real world, we do a lot of tracking and a lot of monitoring. Even if they have to go for a birthday party, you have a list of 10,000 questions. You'll bombard them with a plethora of questions. किसके साथ जा रहे हो? किसकी birthday party है? Who else is coming for the party? What time are you going to be back? Who else is accompanying you? All those questions are bombarded at your children when, even if it is a simple thing of attending a friend's birthday party. But how aware are we, or how prompt are we in tracking our children in the online world? So let us just watch this short video and then go back to discussing the solution that we have here for tracking our children in the online world. So
You know I'm sneaking out. It's too early. Are you?
It's 9 o'clock the party.
9:15. 9:15.
I heard it was 2 a.m.
Hey, check this out.
Yo, what up? Whoa! Yo, man. Yo, send that to me real quick. I'm not gonna. Come on, send that to me.
Man, you a pimp.
Yo,
Let me pull it up full screen. Look at that, boys. Check that out, boys. I gotta. I had to send this to Mark.
Send that out now.
So, as we saw in the video, this is exactly how things go viral when they are put online. And there are times when we don't even realize the kind of activities that our children are engaging in. I wonder, parents, if you know of this app called Snapchat. Just type in yes, or just type in SC if you know about this app called Snapchat. So, for those of you who are not aware as to what Snapchat is all about, this is a photo sharing app, just like your WhatsApp. Yes, Romilji. Yeah, thank you, Navita ji. So you are okay, right, Saroja ji. So this Snapchat app is something that is very popular. For those of you who are not aware, this is a photo sharing app wherein I can share a snap. It's called a snap, just like our posts on Instagram. So I can take a picture of myself and I share it on Snapchat. It's called a snap. And I have settings over there wherein I can set a time limit of 2 to 10 seconds. So once I send it to, let us say, a friend of mine, I send a snap, within 2 to 10 seconds, I can add that feature that this image will disappear and it will self-destruct from the receiver's screen. Now, this particular feature gives the sender of the image, the users of Snapchat, it gives them a lot of mental comfort that I can share any kind of image because it will anyway self-destruct. Now, to make it all the more user-friendly, Snapchat has added another feature that if the receiver takes a screenshot of the snap that has been sent by you, you will get a notification saying that such and such user, a receiver, has taken a screenshot. So obviously you can call them and question them as to why did you take a screenshot of an image that was anyway supposed to self-destruct. Now, what happens here is that users, especially young children, do not realize that even if the receiver does not take a screenshot of the snap that you have sent them, nowadays everybody has multiple devices. So I can take another phone and take a screenshot of your snap without you even knowing. Now, this, parents, is particularly very, very dangerous because as a cybercrime intervention officer, I've realized that children share all kinds of content with their friends, with their so-called friends, and ultimately they end up getting blackmailed because using AI, that particular photograph can be morphed, entire videos can be created, and this is happening very, very rampantly in today's world. So what I would want to tell you now is that the solution that we have here is that if technology has given us apps like Snapchat and Instagram and other social media platforms and other gaming platforms. The good news is that it has also given us parental software control apps. So, any of you who are currently using parental software control apps, please type in PC into the chat window, please. And for those of you who are not aware of parental software control apps, let me just quickly give you a brief about what exactly do these apps do. So, uh, I'll just share a few names of apps. Apps like Custodio, Bark, Canine, and many others are free parental software controls. And once I download this app and I install it on my device, the advantage is that, like I said, a lot of us have multiple devices nowadays. So your child might have a tab or an iPad, they will have a laptop, they will also have a personal smartphone. So using just one account, you can install the parental software control app across multiple devices, and it gives you that advantage of blocking certain websites that you do not want your child to access. So nowadays a lot of fashion sites also have a lot of semi porn and porn content on them, so you can apply web filters. If your child tries to access a website that you have blocked, you will one receive a danger alert, you will receive an email on your registered email address through which you've set up the parental control account, and parallelly your child will see on screen that there is some server error or a 404 error, because of which they are unable to access that site. So they do not get to know that you have installed a parental software control. Also, besides blocking sites, you can also set in time limits for how long they can use the Wi-Fi connection. So many of you, I'm sure, are working parents and you do not want your child to be accessing the internet while you are away at work. Let us say from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I do not want the child to access the home Wi-Fi system. So I'm going to block, I'm going to set the time limits. You can also track the locations, you can monitor calls. Like I said, you can install the same app across multiple devices. And at the end of the month, you will get activity reports through email wherein it'll list out what all apps and what all, it'll give you the browsing history of your child and their device. And if any kind of bullying is happening online, they are getting into any kind of trouble online, you will get immediate danger alerts on your email and your registered mobile number. Now, if you have any confusion regarding these apps, and let me mention that Custodio, Bark, Canine, these are all free parental software controls, although they do have a premium version as well. But do remember to activate the uninstall protection feature when you are installing the app. Like I said earlier, we are the Doordarshan generation. Our children are the Netflix generation. They are digital natives of a place where we have just immigrated. So while we are still trying to wrap our heads around the World Wide Web, our children know the nuances of cyberspace inside out. So when you're installing these apps, we do not want the child to know that you've installed the software control. Of course, in terms of technology, sometimes like we feel our children are much more tech savvy than us. So we avoid having these conversations. But like I said, today's session is going to offer you some life-changing content, very simple tips and tricks, wherein you will be able to match up with your child's tech savvy attitude. Let's understand, parents, that even if our children might be very tech savvy, they lack the maturity and the experiences of life that you and I, as adults, as parents, have. So if they get into trouble online and they do not speak to you about it, it will become a bigger danger, because many a times consequences of our online activities spill out of cyberspace and mess up our real lives. I've seen this happen in the last decade plus of experience that I have, I'll be sharing some case studies that I have encountered. Uh, so, one among them, when we come to the next problem, this was a case that I received in 2019. This is about a 13-year-old grade 8 girl who was, somewhere very low on self-esteem because she thought she was fat and ugly, and she was not very good at academics, and somehow she did not have very many friends in real life. Now, this is when, it was around her 13th birthday that she started pestering her parents to buy her a personal smartphone for her own personal use. The parents were initially very reluctant, with both of them being very busy doctors, and plus, this girl had now joined some coaching classes. So they finally relented and they gifted her a smartphone on her 13th birthday. Now, like every child has some of the unique or the other unique talent, this girl was very good at painting. So once she had her own phone, she started taking pictures of her artwork and she started posting it on her Instagram account, and she created a public Instagram account. So there were very many followers who were also strangers and whom she did not know in real life. One among them was this 19-year-old boy who started complimenting on her artwork. And like I said, she was very low on self-esteem. But once she started receiving those, compliments and all that acknowledgement on Instagram, she started feeling very good about herself. And soon the conversation with this 19-year-old boy drifted from Instagram to WhatsApp. Now, before giving the phone to their daughter, the parents had set up a rule in the house that no device after 9 p.m. So she was supposed to hand over her phone to her mother at 9 p.m. every night. On a Monday night, the girl gave the phone to her mother, and the mother randomly scrolled through her WhatsApp messages. And what the mother came across gave her jitters, because this girl was having a conversation with that 19-year-old, and she was willing to be picked up from outside the school gate on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. So we are on Monday night, and she already has plans of meeting that boy, that stranger, at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Now, obviously, when the mother saw this, she confronted the daughter, reprimanded her, and next morning, I received a call from school. So we started counseling the girl. Now, this case doesn't end here. Parallelly, what we also did was that we checked the IP address of the boy whom she was interacting with. And parents, what we discovered gives me goosebumps even today. This was not a 19-year-old boy. This was a 49-year-old man sitting somewhere in the interiors of a village in UP, and he was stalking 100 other such children online, and he turned out to be an online predator. So these are the kind of things that are happening while we are very much there at home. We are clueless about what our children are doing. And I'll just play another short video which tells us about how this game called Roblox, I'm sure many of you would be, knowing of your children playing this game. If they are playing Roblox, please type in Roblox into the chat window, and I will just show you this little video, and we'll let the video talk for itself. So,
where children are spending their time online, predators are lurking. Virtual worlds are playgrounds where danger could just be a few clicks away. This is not a new problem, but one that has become heightened and even more severe in a post-pandemic world. The latest hunting ground is in video games.
The predators are master manipulators.
Garrett Nugent, an SDPD detective and task force commander with internet crimes against children, started to notice a trend in most children exploitation cases.
Minecraft, Roblox. They start there. They have a chat component to the game. The adults that are pretending to be children will go on, play the games, friend these children in those games, and develop a relationship with the kids.
During the grooming process, predators will ask kids to move to other chatting applications like Discord. Detective Nugent says this app can be accessed on any device and is even used inside some San Diego classrooms to conduct online learning.
They begin talking in a sexually suggestive manner. Typically, as soon as they get the child to send at least one image that may be illicit, they've got their hooks in them.
The adult pressures the minor to send photos, often in exchange for video game credits.
We've seen a huge increase, and unfortunately it's happening all the time.
In San Diego County, there has been a 300% increase in cases since 2019.
After COVID hit, we just started getting hit left and right.
Detective Tammy Mason works undercover, posing as a child online to catch predators. She says most relationships go far beyond casual chatting.
We had one guy send like a 15 or 16-year-old kid $2,500 worth of computer equipment for stuff like that.
Mason says people are getting more creative with ways to victimize kids and getting away with it.
If they know that they're going to have trouble communicating with that kid, they'll send them a phone with fully paid plans, and they'll say, hide it from your parents.
Predators thrive on the guilt and shame kids feel.
A lot of kids, especially kids that may be part of the LGBTQ community, that are embarrassed, ashamed of what they've done and what's happened to them.
Experts say parents must create an open and safe dialogue around the dangers online.
Here's the rules for the internet. No phone in your bedroom or bathroom. All the internet stuff you do in the living room where everybody's around, and you're not friends with anybody. You don't talk to anybody online unless you know them in person first.
Disable chat functions whenever possible and enact parental controls, like turning off internet capabilities at night. Once a case is closed, Detective Mason speaks with the kid about the realities of the situation.
Why didn't you tell your parents? Because they would have taken away my phone. And I'm thinking that's more important to them than their nudes being out there and being sent around the world. That's how important the digital world is to kids.
So like we saw in the video, that children playing games like Roblox, and then the conversation drifts from these games to apps like Discord. Now, it's one very important that just like, we would not allow our children to play with strangers, even if it is in the park next to your house. Similarly, it's important that we educate our children not to interact with strangers online. And like it was mentioned in the video, an app called Discord is very, very popular. Now, those of you who have heard of Discord, please type in Discord into the chat window. Parents who are not aware of what Discord is all about, this is again an app wherein just like WhatsApp, we can exchange texts and other kind of conversations. But the difference being that in Discord, yes, thank you, Hukum Singh ji. So in Discord, as you might be aware, the whole problem is that I do not really need to enter or display my phone number or my real name. I can put in any pseudonym. So I can take on any name like Catfish or Cutie Pie 13, anything. I can have a username and I can choose to be totally anonymous on this app. And unlike WhatsApp, where you have groups where, the capacity of the group, one could be limited. Here, there can be as many as 500 or 1,000 people on one group, and they are interacting there with complete strangers. So Discord has become a new playground for online predators. We've all heard of the little Red Riding Hood story. And I often say, and I've written in my book, that when it comes to this jungle called the World Wide Web, we are all little Red Riding Hoods, and we have those big bad hungry wolves whom we call online predators, who are in search of bringing harm to the Red Riding Hood and her family through the internet, using this virtual wall to hide behind and play the fool. So that's exactly what, in fact, my book cover also looks like. So we have this predator pretending to be a princess and interacting with the users through the screen. Now, coming to the solution that we have to the problem of stranger danger is safe social networking. And I've created an acronym here. S stands for Say No to Strangers. A stands for knowing the age limit on games and apps. Now, it's very important, parents, for you to know that Discord like apps have an age limit of 13 plus. Facebook, Instagram, Fortnite, all these apps have 13 plus, 14 plus, even 17 plus. Some of these games are meant for 17 plus children. Now, the whole point here, parents, is that, like we mentioned earlier, before entering any gaming platform or social media platform, you do not need any kind of address or date of birth proof. So, what is happening is that young children who are even below the age of 13, very comfortably, they put in their age 10 years older than what they are. So, it's very, it's a human tendency. A 9-year-old child will put in their age as 19. They'll just shift their date of birth by 10 plus years. Now, the whole challenge here is that we are not aware that there are rules and laws that govern this space called cyberspace. And one among these laws is COPA, or the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. And this Child Online Privacy Protection Act makes it mandatory for all social media platforms and all gaming platforms to protect young users who are between the age of 13 and 18. But now the problem here, parents, is that our children will put in their age as 18 or 19 or 18 plus. Then the app does not know that they are young users who are below the age of 18. So just like you and I will take care of a younger child more than the older ones because we want them to be physically safe, similarly on the internet, by law, these apps are governed to ensure that young users who are below the age of 18 are safe online. But like I said, if a child puts in a wrong age, then obviously the social media platform does not know that this is a young user. What they do is that if a user is between the age of 13 and 18, then their data will be protected. It will not be shared with marketing agencies. Moreover, even online predators will not have access to the personal details of a young user. So it is protective in that way. Number two, when they are on Instagram and other kind of apps, strangers are not allowed to send friend requests to a young user who is between the age group of 13 and 18. So please, parents, today talk to your children about these very important things. Also, I'll be sharing, Manasvi, I would request you to just put in the PDF. So here we've created a list of 97 apps and games, and we have divided them into red zone apps, green zone apps, and gray zone apps. Yeah, thank you, Manasvi, for sharing. So parents, this particular PDF document has been shared in the chat window. You could just download this. And what, like I was saying, what we've done is we've put apps like Discord are red zone apps because these are very risky apps for children to use. And similarly, we have green zone apps which will be safe to use, and some gray zone apps which will require parental monitoring. So today, let this session be that starting point in your conversation about cyber safety with your children. and you need to bring in your maturity and your experience onto the table. I'll also be, as we proceed through the session, I'll also be sharing as to how you can communicate with your child and get them to open up about whatever they are doing online. Coming back to safe social networking, F stands for keeping your front camera and webcam covered when not in use. What I've realized as a cybercrime intervention officer is that a lot of cyber hacking is happening because webcams are being hacked. Nowadays, a lot of devices like my laptop has a little shutter on top. I can just put on this shutter and I can close my my webcam when it's not in use. But I'm not asking you to graduate to devices which have webcam shutters. Instead, you can do something very simple. I can just take a sticky note here and I can cover my web camera and my front camera when it's not in use. I'd like to share a case over here which recently happened to a high level corporate. Now, he was the country head for India, and it was a multinational company based in the US where he was working for. Now, at 11 in the night, he suddenly received a WhatsApp video call from an unknown number. And, being the country head and at midnight, he's receiving a call. He thought it might be an official call and he accepted that video call. Now, the moment he did that, there was an adult video that started playing in the background. So within 2 seconds, he disconnected that call. But what is happening now, like we started the session with talking about AI, now AI is being used to generate all kinds of videos. So what these scamsters did was they took that 2-second video of his viewing that porn video, and using that 2-second video, they created an entire 1-minute clip using AI. Now, using artificial intelligence. And he receives this 1-minute video on his WhatsApp along with a threat that if he doesn't deposit X amount of money within the next half an hour, this video clip will be made to go viral. And they said that they've even hacked into his Facebook and they've hacked into his Instagram and they have access to all his WhatsApp contacts. So they are going to make this video go viral. So these kind of cases, parents, are rampantly happening. A sincere request here, besides, of course, covering your webcam when not in use, please do not accept any kind of video calls from unknown numbers. Recently I was conducting sessions at the Sri Ram school, and one of the teachers shared that she received a video call from a person who said, and this was a video of her daughter. So she received it on WhatsApp saying that the daughter had been kidnapped. And it is the daughter talking, saying that she needs help. It was the daughter's face, her own voice, her daughter's voice playing on that video. And suddenly her daughter, who'd gone for the coaching, walks in through the front door. So she's received a video on WhatsApp saying that the daughter herself is saying that she's been kidnapped and the daughter is walking in through the front door. So it was obviously an AI generated video. Now the solution that I have to offer to all of you here is very simple. Create a family password, because that password becomes your communication tool. If something untoward like a kidnapping has actually happened, then the child is supposed to use that password and communicate to you that this has actually happened in real life. If the password is not used, then it's simple that this is AI generated, and you just know that it is a scam. Any of you who've heard of any kind of scams or would like to share some kind of story, you could leave it in the comment section. So these kind of cases, digital arrest and AI generated scams, phishing scams, financial frauds, it's happening very, very rampantly. And I really wish we had more time, but We'll be definitely sharing these kind of tips through a particular, Be Safe in Cyberspace. We have an entire tip sheet for parents, which we will be either sending it to you through email after the end of this session. We'll mail it to you, or I could ask Manasvi to share it in the chat box later. Coming back to E of safe social media networking, you need to ensure two-factor authentication. Those of you who are already using two-factor authentication, just type in 2FA into the chat window. And this is a double layer of protection in the sense that when, let us say that, my house keys are different from my cupboard keys. So if a burglar breaks into my house, at least they cannot access my safe and my almirah or my cupboard. Similarly, yes, thank you, Navita ji. Thank you, Hukum Singh ji. So it's wonderful that you are using two-factor authentication because, like I was saying, yes, Deepak ji, like I was saying, it gives you one that suppose I set up two-factor authentication. You can even do it on a WhatsApp. So there will be one OTP or code that you will have to put in, and only then you will be able to access your WhatsApp. So it becomes easier for you to protect your data and to protect your accounts. Also, please do not use the same passwords across different sites. For ease of convenience, many a times the same password is my Instagram for my Instagram account, for my Gmail account, for my Facebook, for other kinds of social media platforms. We end up using the same password across all social media accounts. Now, the problem there, parents, is that if one account gets hacked, then all your other accounts also get hacked. So it's important that you use different passwords across different sites. And if you have difficulty in remembering those passwords, we've got apps like Password Manager that can be used to save your passwords. But there again, the firewalls or the technology glitches can happen and data breaches can happen at the end of the app. So it is best that you use the traditional pen and paper. So have a diary, have a pen and paper, and put down your passwords along with whatever social media accounts you've created. So it's important that you save your passwords in a safe place rather than saving it on a device, because devices, one, are liable to getting hacked, two, they can even get lost. So use two-factor authentication always. We've already spoken about knowing the age limit on games and apps. So just like we have these roller coaster rides wherein the child has to be of a certain height to be allowed to go up that ride, similarly, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, games like Fortnite, Roblox, they all got an age limit there in place because they want us to be safe, not just in real life, but also in the virtual world. Before we come to problem number 3, would you believe me if I said that children are spending less time outdoors even as compared to prisoners? 75% children spend less time outside than prison inmates, was a latest report by the UK Guardian. They are spending twice as long playing on screens than they are playing outside. And somehow, parents, the pandemic converted all our free time into screen time. So excessive screen time has become a big problem. And the solution that I have to offer here is regulating internet usage using what we've devised, the ABC of reducing screen time, wherein A stands for alternatives. So let me just elaborate a little on that. I'm sure all of you would have heard of this happy chemical in the body, which is called dopamine. So if you've heard of dopamine, just type in yes into the chat window. Now, dopamine is a biochemical. Without really getting into the biochemistry of the human body, let me just explain it very simply to you that if, let us say, I am an avid reader, then the sight of books will give me a dopamine high. Yes, Subhaji. Similarly, if I am a foodie, then the sight of good, delicious food, yes, Piyushji, this will give me a dopamine rush. Now, what is happening is when it comes to screens, if I have an Instagram account, the moment I post a picture of myself and I start receiving compliments from my friends and followers, it'll give me a dopamine high. Similarly, the unlimited scroll down potential of the internet, it gives me a dopamine rush. And when it comes to children, particularly children who are not doing very well academically, now they are, let us say, failing in their exams and their tests in school, suddenly when they are in an online game and they start winning there and they are able to cross one level after another, it gives them that dopamine rush. Now, parents, what happens here is that we start relying on our screens for that dopamine, which was earlier being given to us through, let us say, books or food, or even, let us say, I take my child to an amusement park. Now, when they see all those exciting rides, those roller coasters around them, will they go back to their devices? No. They are already getting a lot of dopamine high in that amusement park. Now, when I talk about alternatives, obviously, I cannot take my child to an amusement park every day, but I need to look at what kind of alternatives can we have in real life wherein the child is able to get their dopamine from, let us say, playing football, basketball, swimming, skating. It could be indoor games, it could be painting, baking, cooking, any kind of thing. Like I said, I'm a mother of two. My daughter is a Bharatanatyam dancer, and at one point she wanted to create videos on this app called Musically, which later got the name of TikTok. She was 11 years old then, and somewhere I, as a parent, was very concerned, especially being into the domain of cyber safety as an expert. I knew the kind of perils that young children, especially at the age of 9, 10, 11 or younger, can face in the online world. Now, once my daughter started pestering me for her own smartphone and her friends being on that app called Musically that time, now all that peer pressure was coming on to me as a parent. So it was important for me to discourage my child and to take her away from screens. So like I said, she was a Bharatanatyam dancer, very passionate about Bharatanatyam. I spoke to her guru, and in a Bharatanatyam dancer's journey, and Arangetram is the first public performance. So I spoke to her guru, and I, requested the guru if we could have that Arangetram, that first public performance. If we could train her on that, and Guruji was, very kind enough to, comply with my request, and we increased the number of Bharatanatyam classes, and we inspired my daughter to have her Arangetram. And I'm very proud that at a young age of 13 she had her Arangetram performance at the India International Center with an audience of 200 people. And this preparation took a good 2 years, and the fringe benefit that I was able to draw as a parent was that she forgot about Musically, she forgot about having her own personal phone. So parents, a sincere request and a recommendation today: what is it that you can do to, what alternative can you find in your child's life that can take them away from that screen? At the same time, another recommendation is to budget screen time. So I come across a lot of parents who are very, clueless and intrigued as to how much screen time is too much. Where exactly should they be drawing the line? How can they budget screen time? So as a family, it is important that you sit together, create rules in the home. So all family time has to be there. All your meal times have to be no devices. So when you sit at the dining table, that has to be family time without your devices. At the same time, like we saw in the video also, no devices to be taken into bedrooms. You could have common charging stations wherein all your devices are charged in, let us say, a domain like the living room, so that you ensure that you are able to budget your child's screen time. Coming to how much is too much, so as an expert in the domain, I would recommend that for kindergarten kids it has to be a maximum of 30 minutes a day. And somewhere I've realized, when I interact even with students, I've realized that they think screen time is their birthright. Parents, please, you need to change that belief within your homes. uh, Screen time has to be a reward, it is not a birthright. So once they've done with their homework, once they're done with their self study, that is when you reward them with 30 minutes of screen time. Even that needs to be broken up between two windows of 15 minutes each. For older children, let us say, 9 to 12, it could be 1 hour a day, but again, please break it up into 30-minute windows or 15-minute windows. So 45 minutes of study rewarded with 15 minutes of screen time, and this could be done 4 times across the day. So that is how you budget screen time. But that cannot happen if you yourself are glued to your devices. So you need to cut down on your own screen time. Parents, you have a choice. Either, you are glued to your device and your child is glued to their device, or you could have family time wherein it could be reading, it could be picnics, it could be some kind of indoor sports, outdoor activities. You always have a choice. And if you want to add a D to the ABC of reducing screen time, then D could be a day of complete digital detox. So, Sunday, for example, tomorrow, it could be a complete digital detox day wherein you spend time with your family without your devices. um, this is, a testimonial from a parent who was able to reduce her son's screen time to 1 hour every day, improve grades, and the son is now an all-rounder thanks to following these very simple solutions that we have discussed until now. But the biggest problem that I see a lot of parents facing, I'm sure you can relate to it: my child doesn't listen to me. Type in me into the chat window if you are facing a similar challenge, a similar problem with your child. Parents I see often complaining कि बच्चे सुनते नहीं है हमारी. So it is not just about real world, it's also about screen time budgeting being created, but then the child just doesn't listen. So we have a solution here, that is right communication. We've already shared that list of games and apps with you. Yes, Vidhi ji, Rahul ji, I can relate to it completely. Navita ji, that, children do not listen to us anymore. So let me tell you how to first disarm your child before you discuss cyber safety with them, or any kind of, discussion that you want to have. Your child's biggest fear in today's date is that if you as a parent get to know that they have been in any kind of trouble online, their biggest fear is that you will snatch away the device. Yes, Saroja ji. So your children, the biggest fear that they have is that my parent will take away my device. And that is exactly what discourages them from telling you about what is happening in their online lives. So parents, today, please sit down as a family. Today's session will be that starting point in your conversation with your child about online safety. But the first step to that conversation is disarm your child, build that trust, assure them that you will not take away their device. At the same time, if you feel your child is more tech savvy than you, sit with them today, discuss the latest apps and sites that interest them, what all is happening in the online world. Once they start educating you about those games and apps which are very popular with teenagers or popular with young children nowadays, that could be the starting point in your conversation. Step number 2 would be you share your concerns and your own mistakes. So, just like in the real world, we share our concerns about their safety. Start sharing your concerns about their online safety. Before you do that, probably you could share your mistakes that you committed when you were children. Of course, we did not have these digital platforms way back then, but I'm sure as children, we also did a lot of mistakes that we used to hide from our parents. So, today could be that day when you build that trust with your child. And for that, you need to share the mistakes that you made when you were kids. Share some kind of funny stories that happened when you were a child and your parent would scold you or curtail your outdoor activities. So start sharing your mistakes. It'll help them to build that trust. And believe me, parents, communication and trust is always two-way. So once you open up with your child, share your concerns, they in turn will start sharing what they think. And this communication gap today needs to end. Let me share another case that happened. This was about a grade 7 boy. Again, in a public school in Delhi. I will not name the school for confidentiality reasons. But what happened was that we were having this cyber safety session in that school for middle school students, grade 6 to 8. At the end of this session, this grade 7 boy came up to me, and what he shared gives me goosebumps even today. What had happened was that this boy was into watching adult content. So once the parents would go off to sleep, now nighttime is a time when the child feels there is zero supervision when it comes to online as well as offline activities. So what he would do was he started watching these porn videos way into midnight while the parents were asleep. So a recommendation here, parents, please switch off the Wi-Fi router at night. Coming back to this case, what had happened was that one night when he was watching an adult video, he shared his bedroom with his younger brother who was in grade 2. Now the younger boy got up to use the washroom and suddenly he peeps into Bhaiya's laptop as to what is Bhaiya watching. And what he saw obviously was very, very intriguing. And the younger brother also started watching that adult video at a young age of 7. Now, what happened was that the younger brother started, he started blackmailing the older boy, saying that if you do not let me watch what you are watching every night, I will go tell Mama and Papa about this. So this grade 7 boy was getting blackmailed, and this went on for the next 3 months until the session happened in their school. Now, obviously, he was very concerned about the younger brother getting exposed to this kind of content at a young age of 7. And obviously, as an older brother, he was feeling very guilty and very responsible for what he unknowingly exposed the younger boy to. So, of course, we called the entire family, we spoke to the parents, and we were able to give them this solution. But again, parents, this communication gap can be very dangerous. For 3 months, this grade 7 boy was unable to muster up the courage to go tell his parents as to what had happened. So, right communication is something which is very, very, very important. And I would emphasize on that very in bold and capital. Very, very important. Also, children listen more to children than they listen to adults. So when they listen to their peer group much more than they listen to you as parents or we as teachers and experts. So, what we are now proposing is that at the Khaitan School, we want to set up a digital well-being club, a cyber safety club of the students, for the students, by the students. So, very soon we will be having cyber safety sessions with your children. And just like you have drama clubs and theater clubs and all those music and singing clubs, we are proposing that we set up a digital well-being cyber safety club. And just like you have auditions for drama clubs and music clubs, we will have auditions for the cyber safety club. And we've done this in a lot of other schools. Like we have a testimonial from Mrs. Manju Kumar, who is the principal of DPS South Bangalore. So we've set up a cyber safety club, and within this club, besides having student counseling, and we will also set up cyber safety weeks, wherein we will have slogan writing activities, poster making activities, and also we will counsel the senior students and we will train them in conducting cyber safety sessions for the middle and primary school students. So when these senior students go talk to their juniors about cyber safety, suddenly I see that a major shift happens, and the younger kids, the session becomes much more impactful because it is children talking to children about cyber safety. Also, this is a testimonial from Isha. Of course, the name has been changed. She was on Instagram and YouTube and Snapchat, and all that made her lose track of time. But once we had these student counseling sessions, and she herself became one of the students who was chosen to be a part of the cyber safety club, she started going and counseling the younger students. She was able to reduce her own screen time to only 20 minutes a day. Isn't that really beautiful and wonderful? So these are the kind of activities that we are proposing for the Khaitan School also. Coming to problem number 5, that is cyberbullying, and I will quickly share my own story with you and what inspired me to come into this domain of conducting cyber safety awareness sessions and then doing all those trainings with ISAC, which is the Information Sharing and Analysis Center, and with the National Security Database. I trained myself to become a cyber safety expert because this was a case of cyberbullying I witnessed in my own life. So what happened was that this was a case of cyberbullying, wherein this is a story about a 14-year-old boy who was a grade 9 student at a reputed school in Delhi, and he was also an ace football player. So he was so good that he was the captain of the school football team. Now, during one of the football matches, what happened was that this boy got hurt in his private parts, because of which he had to undergo a surgery in that area. Now, two of his friends, his so-called teammates and his friends who were there when the accident happened, knew about this surgery, and they started bullying him that he had become a girl. Now, these teammates did not stop at real-life bullying. This was a time when Facebook was as popular among teenagers as Instagram is today. And these friends of his, these teammates, posted this on the school Facebook group. Now, what happened was that children in school who knew him and who did not know him started bullying him that he'd become a girl. And that is the power of social media. Unfortunately, it gets misused sometimes. Now, when the bullying reached a limit wherein he could no longer endure the trauma, on a Sunday night, this boy quit the game of life and he committed suicide because he was too scared. And too traumatized to go back on Monday and face all that bullying in school. Now, parents, that was a day when I took a stand that I do not want this to happen to any child on the planet. So, this is what inspired me to get into creating awareness about cyberbullying. And the weapons of a cyberbully are nasty messages, threatening messages, embarrassing comments, unwanted videos and images. And the solution that we offer here, I call it the IBR mantra for cyberbullying, wherein I stands for ignore, B for block, R for report. So please share this IBR mantra with your children today. We, of course, as counselors, will be sharing it with the students when we do the student counseling sessions. But for now, you need to tell your children, I stands for ignore, wherein they should ignore those threatening and rude and nasty messages. If that doesn't work, they need to go to blocking those bullies. If that doesn't work either, they need to take help from you and report this on the portal. Manasvi, we do not have the slide for. So, anyways, I'll put it in the chat box. This is cybercrime.gov.in. So this is the Government of India cybercrime reporting portal wherein you can report any kind of cybercrime. So if it is a case of cyberbullying that you need to report, then it has to be reported under the women and child related crime, wherein you will be reporting it on your child's behalf. If you need any kind of help from me and as an organization, we are called Be Safe in Cyberspace. I'll be sharing the details of our organization as well as my email address, so you can always reach out to us. We will help you report this case on the cybercrime reporting portal of the Government of India. All you need to do is log into the portal and keep evidence in the form of screenshots. So you'll have to furnish your ID proof and you will have to give a registered mobile number. So once the case and the FIR has been lodged on the portal, you will receive an SMS and they will keep you updated. So the cybercrime cell will keep you updated about the developments on the case. Now, I'll just give you a quick recap of what we have discussed until now. The solutions we talked about, number one was the parental software control apps like Custodio, K9, Bark. Second, we talked about safe social media usage, wherein S stands for say no to strangers, A stands for knowing the age limit on games and apps, F for front camera and webcam covered when not in use, E for ensuring two-factor authentication. Then we spoke about the ABC of limiting screen time, where A stands for alternatives, B stands for budgeting screen time, C for cutting down on your own screen time, and D for a digital detox. Right communication is what I really emphasized on. So when it comes to using controls versus communication, I as a parent would any day choose communicating with my child, because software controls will not be as effective as communication would be. Then last but not the least, we spoke about the IBR mantra for cyberbullying: I for ignore, B for block, R for report. Now I'll just stop sharing my screen. And parents, if you have any kind of questions, any kind of concerns, you could please type it into the chat window. And I would love to answer any kind of questions that you may have. Until you type in your questions, maybe I could just share this poem with you. It's called It's Your Choice. We all have choices, you and I. One is to laugh and one is to cry. One is to be wrong, one is to be right. One is to be peaceable, one is to fight. One is to relax, one is to worry. One is to be safe, one is to be sorry. One is to quit or follow things through. The final choice is up to you. So, on that note, parents, I really hope that you will choose to be safe in cyberspace. And we look forward to being partners in digital parenting and your online safety. I've put in my email address. You could also visit us on our website, that is www.besafeincyberspace.com. We have a Facebook page as well as an Instagram handle. You could even like us on that. It is by the name of Be Safe in Cyberspace. If you have any kind of questions, I would be happy to answer them. So Manasvi, then we will end the session. I will share the tip sheet with you, which you could mail in, or I can put it in the chat window. Just give me a minute. All right, so we have a few questions here. If any incident happened to a child from a family member only and he or she has shared with us, we make them understand. But if those things are coming again and again in their mind, what to do? That's a very valid question. And, the difference between cyberbullying and online or face to face bullying is that the trauma for the victim is, or the survivor is, 24/7. So I totally understand your concern as a parent that this is brewing on the child's mind time and again. This would require one-to-one counseling, and wherein we will have to work on the psychology part also, because incidents like these, it is like a burn mark. So it's like putting boiling water on the child. So whichever family member has victimized the child, or any kind of bully victimizing the child, it is like a burn. It's like putting boiling hot water on the child. Now the thing is that burn will heal, but the scars, that wound, will always remain. So in these cases, we would require one-to-one counseling with the child. So I've put in my email address. I would request you to contact me through the email, or I'm even putting in my phone number, because I understand that this is a grave issue. So I'm putting in my phone number, and you could contact me one-on-one, and this would require one-on-one counseling, like I said. So I've put in my phone number. You could contact me, and we will heal the child through one-on-one counseling sessions. Romil Agarwal ji is saying that the kids watch too much reels these days and spend time online in watching reels. How do you divert them and make them interested in other useful content? Like I said, Romil ji, in the first place, the unlimited scrolling potential. You watch one reel, I can relate to it completely. You watch one reel, there'll be 3 other suggested ones, and they know exactly what you are viewing. So there is another documentary on Netflix, which is called Social Dilemma. So it'll just help you know how the back end works and how they are tracking all your interests and your likes. So to divert them, Romalji, like we talked about the ABC of limiting screen time, you will have to look for something that interests your child, something that keeps them uh, engaged. Like I gave you my daughter's example, I got her into the Bharatnatyam realm. I'm sure your child would have some kind of interest, so you could divert them by engaging them in other activities. It could even be coding or ethical hacking, if screens are something that they find very interesting. And on YouTube you are getting a lot of these DIY, do it yourself videos, so you could inspire them to watch those videos. And these DIY kits are also available. Using those, you could always engage your child, get involved with them in some kind of an activity. It could be Lego, it could be creating something, it could be mandala art, it could be painting, cooking, baking, anything that interests your child and takes them off screens. Yet it is something so interesting that it gives them that dopamine high. Uh, Ma'am, do we educate this to our 7-year-old? Yes, absolutely, Reena, ma'am. You need to educate. So, like when I was sharing my story, I started conducting these cyber safety awareness sessions way back in 2012. And that was a time when I had to approach schools and request them to give me a time slot, and I would conduct sessions for grade 11 and 12. Very soon it went to 9 to 12, so schools started requesting me to conduct sessions for 9 to 12 grades, and then it came to 6 to 8, and now I am receiving requests from schools to conduct sessions for even grade 1 and 2 and kindergarten kids. There was a time, like you would often see, nowadays children take their first steps in cyberspace even before they actually learn how to walk and put their foot on the ground. They already know how to swipe on iPads and iPhones. They're in their prams and in their carry cots. 6-month-old babies, they're sitting and they're just swiping on, they're watching nursery rhymes. They are taking their first steps in cyberspace even before they've actually stepped into the real world. They've already stepped into the virtual world. So please do talk to your children, even if they are kindergarten kids. But of course, it has to be age appropriate content. So all our modules at Be Safe in Cyberspace are specially curated and designed so that we give age appropriate content to them, because we don't want to plant ideas into the heads of the younger ones. So our modules for pre-primary, primary are different from the middle school and senior school modules. Which is the best parental control app and any antivirus for children monitoring? Yes, so like I recommended, Neeraj, Custodio is something that I have been using personally, but other apps like Bark, K9 and Dime a Dozen are very, very parent friendly and very safe to use, and also they would not be tracked by your child. So personally, I would recommend Custodio. I do not have any commercial interest here. And like I shared my story, my entire idea of stepping into this domain of creating cyber safety awareness is because I want a difference. I want to create that difference in the world. And today, I urge you to take that stand for your child. Ensure that your children are safe in cyberspace. We are running out of time, so I will quickly take the last question. What to do if kids kind of blackmail that if they're not allowed gaming, they will not study? This is a grade 9 student. So, what you need to do here is counsel them, make a reward and rebuke policy. If they are blackmailing you that they are not going to study, then it is quite grave, and I would request that, if we could have a one-on-one counseling session. And of course, I will address it when we are doing the session in school. Sahil ji is saying that kids get distracted too often, are not focused while studying. How can we control their mood swings? So all these kind of queries, this will require your personal touch. It will require that you sit with them. You show them the perils of what will happen if they do not study, what will happen if they are not focused. Now, once we are able to show them the complete picture of how their grades, how their real life is getting impacted because they are not studying, at the same time, you will have to give them some kind of a bait. You will have to give them some kind of a reward policy. So don't reward them just in terms of screen. It is like, what will you do? I would want to ask you, Sahilji, what will you do if, your child just says that, get me 1 gram of weed. Just 1 gram of weed is all I ask for. I'm going to do excessively well and I will focus on my studies, but you get me 1 gram of some kind of drugs. That is exactly how addictive the social media platforms and online gaming platforms are nowadays. We cannot reward them with screens. We will have to find out a solution in the real world wherein we are able to take them away from screens. So if it calls for even them depositing their device to you, it'll help them to focus on their studies if the device is away. You could also set it app timers. So like even for Android phones, you can go to the inbuilt digital well-being app. For iOS systems, also for iPhones, you can go into the digital well-being and create an app timer. It'll help them to focus on their studies. As in WhatsApp, if I want to limit my WhatsApp usage to 30 minutes, I'm going to set an app timer, and after 30 minutes, that WhatsApp green logo will go gray and I cannot access WhatsApp. So you can set in app timers for them so that they can study and focus on studies and not get distracted by the screen. So you will allow only, let us say, 30 minutes of YouTube. After that, the app timer will automatically block YouTube and the child cannot access YouTube. If you think that technology has given us all these apps or social media platforms, there's also one app called Pomodoro. So you could encourage your children to use this. I'll put in the name, Pomodoro app. So sorry, I think I misspelled it. So just search Pomodoro. Yeah. So what this does is you could set in, let us say, like I said, 45-15 rule is what we follow, or a 40-20 rule. So 40 minutes of studying and 20 minutes of any activity, which could be either screen or any kind of games that they like to play. So you could use this app to help them focus on their studies, and you'll be able to control their mood swings also, because after 40 minutes of studying, you are rewarding them with 20 minutes of screen time or any other activity that interests them. I hope that answers that, Sahilji. Thank you so much. So I would just end the session. I am putting back the slide for having my email address and website details. And on the website, we've also got a parent form. So you can fill in that parent form, and we will be sending you monthly newsletters with more such tips on how to be safe in cyberspace. Thank you so much for hearing me out. And I look forward to being your partner in digital parenting and online safety. Thank you so much, parents, for your patient listening.
Thank you, Pooja Malhotra ma'am, for such an insightful and thought-provoking session. Your expertise and practical guidance have truly empowered us to navigate the digital world more safely and responsibly. To all our participants, we appreciate your time and engagement in today's webinar. We hope you found valuable takeaways to help you create a safe online environment for your children and encourage responsible digital habits. Keep watching the space for the Khaitan School's upcoming webinar series on the range of important topics such as nutrition and health, mindfulness, career guidance, and digital addiction. We look forward to continuing this journey of learning and awareness with you. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a great day.